Alright guys, today we're going to start a new unit and we're going to be talking about circles and two formulas hopefully you're familiar with. If not, you're going to learn those today. These are area and circumference of a circle. These are two formulas that you use often in mathematics, and this is something that you will definitely see on the ACT as well. Alright, let's see if I can get my pen working here. Alright, so the area is pi r squared, and r represents your radius. Radius of the circle is from the outside to the center of any circle. Alright, the circumference, c equals 2 pi r. And 2 times the radius, twice the radius is your diameter. So we can say, or c equals pi times diameter. Alright, so you can use either one of these formulas to get the same answer. It just depends on whether they give you the radius or the diameter. Alright, so let's look at a couple examples. So find the area of the circle for 1 through 4 and the circumference for 5 through 8. So 1 through 4, we're going to find the area. So area equals pi r squared. So pi times radius squared. For this one, the radius is 12 squared. 12 squared is 144. And if you multiply this out, 144 times pi is about 452.39. And this is in meters. And that'd be meters squared. Alright, so this one, because pi is an irrational number, it's not exactly 3.14. This is an approximate answer. If a question asks you to put it in terms of pi, you're going to put it as 144 pi meters squared. So this is the exact answer, or an answer in terms of pi. And the bottom answer is if you multiply it by pi. Both are correct answers. All right, also remember that with area, you're talking about the inside. And I'm not very good at shading this in, but the inside, that's the area. So that's why you have meters squared. All right, let's look at number 2. All right, area equals pi r squared. This time we're given the diameter. So to get the radius, I'll take half of this. So divide that by 2, and that gives me 9. So I'm going to have 9 squared. 9 squared is 81 pi. You can see that twice radius is not the same thing as radius squared. Okay, the diameter is 2 times the radius, but the formula says radius squared, so you have to be aware of that. So make sure you pay attention. Okay, if I multiply 81 times pi in my calculator, I'm going to get 254.47 inches squared. This time it's inches, so inches squared. This one would be 81 pi inches squared if you leave it in this form. All right, moving down to number 3, we're still looking at the area for numbers 3 and 4. So area equals pi r squared, so pi times radius. This time it gives us our radius. And 2.8 squared, 7.84 times pi. And if I multiply that by pi, I get 24.63. And this is in feet. So I'm going to do feet squared. And anytime I multiply that by pi, I need to use the squiggly line instead of the equal sign because that is an approximate answer. All right, number 4, area equals pi r squared. This time I'm given the diameter, so I need to find the radius by half and 35. So if I half 35, that gives me 17.5. All right, so I'm going to do area equals pi times my radius, 17.5 squared. And then if I do 17.5 squared, I'm going to get 306.25 times pi. And if I multiply that out, that gives me 962.11. This one's in kilometers, so it'd be kilometers squared. Exact answer, approximate answer. All right, for 5 through 8, it said find the circumference. And remember, the circumference is 2 pi r, or pi times diameter. In number 5, we're given the radius, so we're going to do 2 pi r. So all right, so 2 times 7 is 14 pi. And if I multiply 14 times pi, that's going to give me about 43.98. And that's in millimeters. All right, so this one is not squared because if you remember, circumference is the distance around the circle. So circumference is this part, not the area. When it was area, we squared it. All right, so circumference can be 14 pi millimeters, or if they ask for it to multiply out, 43.98 millimeters. All right, so for number 6, we're going to have circumference equals 2 pi times 15.6. And 2 times 15.6 is going to be 31.2 pi. And if I multiply that by pi, I'm going to get about 98.02 centimeters. Again, these are 2 equivalent statements. Just depends on which way your question is asked. All right, let's move on to number 7, circumference equals, this time we are given the diameter instead of the radius. So the diameter goes all the way across through the midpoint. So I'm going to do pi times diameter. So pi times diameter. I can just put yards here. And then if I do an approximate, if I multiply the 58 by pi, I get 182.21 yards. So again, it can be in either form. All right, number 8 is the same way. This time it gives you the diameter. Circumference equals pi times diameter. This one's in meters. If I multiply 10.2 times pi, I'm going to get 32.04 meters. Again, this is an approximate answer. This one's in terms of pi, or an exact answer. All right, for 9 and 10, it says use the area and circumference formulas to find the radius and the diameter. So this time we're kind of working a little bit backwards. We're still using the same formulas, but now we're looking for the radius or the diameter. So number 9 says find the diameter of a circle with a circumference of 65.97. All right, so if it has the circumference, we know we're using the circumference formula. So circumference equals pi times diameter. Since we're looking for diameter, we're going to use this formula. All right, so we're going to substitute the 65.97 in the formula. And then pi is a symbol, but we know it actually stands for a number. It's 3.14, da-da-da-da-da. So we're going to divide both sides by pi. So when you take your calculator and you divide 65.97 by 5, you're going to get the diameter is 21 meters. All right, now we are going to find the radius, and we find the radius of a circle with circumference of 21.99 feet. All right, so if we want to find the radius, we're going to use circumference equals 2 pi r. Again, I'm using this formula because r is part of the formula. All right, we are given the circumference, so plug this in for C. 2 pi r. All right, so we can divide by 2, or you can divide by 2 pi. Remember, pi is 3.14. If you want to go ahead and divide by 2 pi, you can divide this by 2 pi in your calculator, and that leaves r. All right, so 21.99 divided by 2 pi, can't speak, is a radius of about 3.5 feet. All right, so we solved for radius using the same formula.